or you do have that chicken and egg problem. Which one is it? Is the physical given rise to the immaterial? How does that transpire? You're on the same problem as the naturalist, the physicalist. If they're saying that the immaterial brought forth the material, how's that work? Upside of the Christian God. You're dealing with like Plato's forms, the realm of the forms and the realm of the material realm. How do you get two together? Plato had to appeal to a demiurge who just squished them together. He just said, I'm blatantly appealing to myth here, but demiurge squished them together, and now we got a relationship. It doesn't really float for everyone. And, how is there any correspondence between that which is immaterial to the physical world and vice versa? How can they be applied in a realm of contingent experience when these things are absolutely transcendent? They're completely dichotomous things. The universals do not change, and they're immaterial. The material world is physical, and it's in flux. How's there any correlation between that which is unchanging and that which is changing that you can apply it in your contingent realm of experience in your life? They have to answer these questions from a dualist perspective. So that's wrapped up with problem, lots and stuff like that. You can just challenge them. And third class is other religions, and they just ape Christianity, such as Islam, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormonism, whatever. And we just deal with them on an exegetical basis and deal with their revelation, their tacked on things. Islam comes down hundreds of years, wants to affirm the Bible that's previously revealed. Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses they would affirm the Bible to some extent, and that's just refute them on a theological grounds, exegetically, on specific doctrines that put them outside the camp of Christ. That's how you refute the non-Christian worldviews from that perspective. So that's all the three worldviews you're dealing with. Any person you talk to is going to be lumped into one of those categories: a physical monist, a spiritual monist, a dualist of some sort, and then other religions which ape Christianity, because they just have to borrow from Christian God to some extent. So, simplistic, easy way to categorize people without getting too highly philosophical. So you just let them lay out their, like as I say, the other side of the page. Christian worldviews on one side of the page, the other worldviews on the other side of the page, completely antithetical to each other. They just get to lay out their view of reality, what they know, and how they should live. And they got to correspond with each other systematically in a cogent fashion. Can't be any dialectical tensions or contradictions, such as how do you get the immaterial from the material, the naturalistic. You're not bridging that gap between view of reality and how you get knowledge from that view of reality. You can't account. And on an ethical basis, even if they want to bring up morality, I don't even grant that they can't even talk about it. But even if they bring it up, I go, still, any one of those three categories of philosophy is called perspective view of philosophy, the threefold view, the three main branches of philosophy: nature of reality, knowledge, ethics. And you can't view one of those groups or classifications unless you deal with the other two in context with it, because they're not each viewed in a vacuum. Because ethics, they want to assert some sort of moralistic ethic or something like that. I go, how does that make sense to even put that when we're just rearrange biochemical slime that just reacts to stimuli you take in? There's no freedom to choose the right or the wrong over against each other, because there is no right or wrong. You just choose what you choose because you're just taking in stimuli and you just regurgitate it out. You don't have a free will. You're just biochemically determined in behaviorist fashion to be conditioned via stimuli to do what you do. You don't have no freedom of the will. There's no freedom there. It's just mechanism determinism. So ethics are out the window before they can even when they claim it, I go, why don't we do that? If I take the opposite position, I'm just biochemically predetermined to say the opposite. Now what? You can't logically refute me because you're arguing against chemical reactions.
Yeah, the ones that really follow this know that. I will tell you, we have atheists in the family, and I did something in the 1970s that they've never forgiven me for. And when they talk to me about it, I say, how can you condemn me for this? You believe that I was once a fish, and I just, I evolved from that. And now I have neurons firing in my brain that tell me to do this, and you're judging me for that. But it's just because the neurons in your brain are telling you that it's wrong, but there's no you don't have any way of actually determining that what I did was wrong.
Right.
And they agree with me when we're at the end of the conversation. They still don't forgive me, of course, but they agree that their worldview doesn't actually allow them to condemn me unless they want to borrow from the Christian worldview.
Yeah, that's right. They have no objective basis, just subjective stimuli. Why I bring up people is just the opposing opinion is deemed as equally as valid as yours. There's no, they have to justify a rational basis on why theirs would then usurp the other one's opinion. But given the sea of moral relativism, none ever do. If they do it arbitrarily, it's just by sheer force then. Well, we just impose this upon people. Oh, by sheer force. You don't have a rational justification for it. Yeah. Because it's all, when you take that worldview, it is just by its own merits reduced down to it on its own grounds. It says, hey, everything's reduced down to chemical constructs. It is. Yeah. That's right. It's just utter foolishness. It's easily decimated too, for what they give you. So it's like, I didn't have to refute them. I just pointed out where they just hung themselves. They slit their own philosophical. I didn't do it. They did. I'd say, now you want to repent? Come to the Christian worldview? Out of absurdity? Jesus can only save your soul for eternity, but also your... Because you ain't showing good reasoning skills apart from the Christian world. Yeah. That's what what Romans 1 talks about. They become futile in their thinking. Or it's hard professing to be wise, they became fools. That's parallel to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, that God has made foolish the wisdom of the world. According to its own wisdom, does not come to know God. Can't. Blinded by sin, and its wisdom is foolishness. It's via natural theology, and everyone never knows. There's no natural theology. What you have is direct divine intervention, via Romans 1, that God made it evident or made it manifest in them. Not only the creation around them, but also them being created in God's image. Externally and internally to themselves. And they suppress that knowledge because it says they have the truth and they suppress it. It's an immediate truth suppression. And they have to be, when they're holding it down, you got to pry their fingers up. Plus, they can't suppress it fully because when they start laying out their side of the page, they're going to be laying out things that can only be counted in the Christian worldview to begin with. So that's stolen capital from the Christian world. We could take that back and say, okay, apart from the Christian world, what do you have here? Nothing left, really. You're just lying there in sackcloth and ashes. A sea of absurdity.